for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Alrighty. Welcome to our City of Depoe Bay Council meeting, April 16th, 2004. Kim, would you please call the roll, please?
Councilor Beasley?
Here.
Councilor King? Here. Councilor Reck? Here. Mayor Short?
Here.
Councilor Salberg? Here. And Councilor Watson? Here.
Thank you. Has everyone received the revised agenda? Okay, so are there any other changes or additions? None? Okay. Has everyone had a chance to review the consent agenda this evening? Is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion to accept as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have our presentation from the winter sheltering. Do you want to come up with that this afternoon or evening or whatever? Evening, I guess.
You guys move fast.
Good evening, Mayor, council
Yes.
members.
Yes.
My name is Jane Romero. I work as the director of the Lincoln County Health and Human Services Department.
Right.
And I'm Chantal Estes, who is the winter shelter.
Yes, wonderful. Nice to have you both here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it was about May of last year, my department was tasked with standing up an emergency winter shelter. And we worked aggressively throughout the summer to cause that to happen. And we've been visiting the community partners that contributed to our efforts to provide a report and kind of share what happened and answer any questions you might have. So I'm going to turn it over to Chantal.
Thank you, Chantal.
Thank you. So, as you know, my name is Chantal. I got here about a week and a half before the shelter opened. So we kind of ran to home base and skipped the rest, but we got it up as we were building it in the air. The good news is that we were able to see 230 unique individuals that came through the shelters. And what came to our attention quickly was that we noticed the age group of the folks that were coming through and utilizing the program, we were over the age of 50 at 43% of those, even all the way up to 83, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, and 83. So we did notice a big gap in services for those folks. The shelter was not equipped to be CNAs or nurses, and so we had to do some pivoting to make accommodations for those folks. So we were able to make some adjustments, and we were able to house up to 38 people in the Newport shelter and make some room for the mobility limitations folks with walkers and so forth. The other thing we noticed is that the good news is 66% of those folks out of the 230 were all from Lincoln County, with an average stay of about 46 nights throughout the season with our guest here. The longest folks was 125 days out of 180 nights. And multiple guests out of the report here were an average of 65 days. So we had a range of long-term stays with folks that came from Depoe Bay. We had a process where we asked them self-reported in regards to the demographics. And we noticed a 35 out of the 230 were American Indian, and 17% are veterans. So that's a pretty big, high number of veterans. And so as a county, we noticed some gaps. Once we opened the door, we realized that we needed to find some solutions. And so with that, we did see 30 animals, because they're able to take their fur babies in there. And we assisted with cages and food and everything that we needed to accommodate our animals as well. And with that, I think I will pass it on to you.
We started operations in Newport and St. It's been a long day, the Episcopalian Church. And then we moved to the First Presbyterian Church. And after that, we were able to move into what has become and will continue to be our permanent location in Newport. The Housing Authority purchased a property. We're working to get that renovated over the summer. The county will continue to lease that from the Housing Authority, but so the site that we found was good. It's going to be considerably better once we get the renovations completed. We had promised to operate a shelter in 2 locations, and so we looked high and low and up and down through in the Lincoln City area. We even considered at one point a tent camp, and we were not able to pull it off. And so in January, we opened a shelter operation in a hotel in North Lincoln City. We operated it the same as we do a shelter with regard to the check-in times, people giving up their belongings for safety reasons, giving them back when they checked out. We provided everybody with an evening meal, a breakfast meal, and we provided bus tickets to everybody throughout the county from Lincoln City all the way down to Yamaha's. Quite a few biosens. Oh, and let me also say that we, the County Health and Human Services Department, have now purchased a facility in Lincoln City on 14th.
I see shit.
Technical difficulties.
Okay, all right.
Continue on.
No, it's not me.
Technical difficulties,
I'm
no
talking to her, I'm talking to her.
kidding. We can't make anything big.
Mute yourself.
I just muted her. I got it.
Anyway.
Sorry.
We purchased a facility in Lincoln City on 14th Street, and so we're going to work through the summer to get that ready to be able to provide sheltering services there October 1st through March 31st. We had 29 volunteers that were trained to, in a lot of ways, bloodborne pathogens, de-escalation, mental health overview, ensuring forgetting stuff, Narcan, and so forth. And we had 26 staff overall through a temporary agency. We had originally intended, and in my original proposal had proposed that we the county, would hire part-time staff. What we found was that it was just too challenging for the county to do that. Considering we started in May, and as a city, you all understand about bureaucracy and so forth. So we had to create the first job description, and I know we visited you and so forth. And so really, we just weren't able to pull it together as quickly as we would like. And so we needed to work through the BBSI temporary agency. 45 organizations donated services or supplies or muscle or something to help us. 9 of the county's departments actually stepped up and helped in some way, from the sheriff's office helping with food in the beginning, and the animal shelter providing food and crates, to transportation providing crates and food for the animals and water bowls and knowledge, and the transportation department providing bus tickets. The HR department director personally set in all of the interviews with Chantel for all of the temporary staff. We were able to, I think, only have one call to law enforcement, and we didn't make that call. So that's a thing, I think, a point of pride for Chantel. And at the end of it all, we made referrals for 57 individuals for housing, and 33 of them were able to find some form of housing, transitional or a little more permanent housing. And even during the ice storm of 2024, for some reason, Chantel's number was the number broadcast throughout the county. So we were even able to, I think, lend a hand to the county during, the extreme weather event. We have, the Health and Human Services Department, have added a houseless navigational team as we have done this work and as we have become aware of the serious and severe challenges that houseless people are facing, not the least of which are the folks that are in their 60s, and 70s, and 80s. We realized that the evening shelter staff just really could not do the linkages and the support during the day. And so we have added a houseless navigational team. One of those positions has been filled, and we will take that forward into the summer and throughout. We're in the process of evaluating how people felt about what we did. We had a focus group with guests and got really good marks. The HR director did exit interviews with every single temporary staff person. Outstanding feedback. People really appreciate the opportunity to work in a way that they can help and give of themselves to others. And so at this point in time, we are preparing for the next season. We are going to ask you to consider a funding contribution. You helped us last year. We hope, and then we just sat through your budget meeting, right? So we hope there's room in it for a little contribution for us this year. We have a deficit of a little over 350,000. The county's going to put about 450,000 on the table, including funds from my department. The thing that we did not realize going into it was the need to rely on those temporary staff. They're a lot more expensive than county part-time staff. So we have a number of people who want to return. And I think we have a meeting coming up with the HR director to figure out how to go ahead and get those individuals employed and on the county rolls. We also realized that we need to have a second person to support Chantel, especially with 2 locations. And somebody, because there's a lot of running around, you're getting food, going to Walmart, picking up donations. So Chantel was working evenings and days, and we just really need to put a little more help in there. So I think that's kind of it in a nutshell for our report. We're happy to answer any questions we have. We really appreciate the support that you provided to get this off the ground.
It's crucial that you have stepped up and provided this. What a wonderful thing. It just brings tears to my heart thinking that people actually had an opportunity to be warm at night and fed, and that really, so.
And safe. Chantel drives a hardship.
Yes, absolutely. So going forward, do you have an estimate of what you're looking for as far as spending from the city?
What I want to say is all contributions are wanted and needed. And we have asked the city of Lincoln City and the city of Newport for a pretty hefty contribution because their population represents, the vast majority of the guests. It'd be great if you could contribute what you did last year. If you could contribute more, that would be great too. But again, whatever is really wanted and needed, and we really just appreciate your support.
I believe I saw a figure of $5,000.
It was more like 6,000 that we contributed last year.
Well, in this budget document before us, I believe it was 5,000.
Okay. But we'll look at that, I'll see what we're doing.
Question. So are you asking for donations for all cities in Lincoln County?
We still have to visit Depoe Bay. I'm sorry, y'all, it's a long day. I started really early. Yahats, Toledo, and Nicolets. But we have visited with Newport, and they have sent to their budget committee a nice contribution. We visited Lincoln City. We're not sure how that will fall out. Lawport has agreed to a contribution. We visited with the Lincoln County Housing Advisory Board. I am tapping the community partners that helped us previously, the InterHealth Network, CCO, Community Care Organization.
Right.
But we're this year, because we aren't really trying to make it up in time for October 1st, we have a series of committees, including fundraising committees, resource drives, and ways to basically help the operation that will offset the cost of things that we had this year.
So in the City of Depoe Bay packet that comes with the agenda, there was something from the League of Oregon Cities that talked about the bills passed this legislative session. And one of them that came to my attention was Senate Bill 1530 for housing stabilization and production funding. And And for example, it provided 65 million to keep existing shelters open by NEM, and 18 million for grants at the OHA directed to specified community-based organizations for recovery housing. So I know the county has a temporary grant writer or something, but that might be where, I don't know how you get this, but
Well, unfortunately, we've been advised we do not qualify to compete for it.
any of this money?
No.
Why is that?
Karen Brockwell, who staffs the Housing Advisory Board, has advised that it has to do with the timing of when we started our operations. So we had to have been, in progress, I guess, at some line in the sand, and we weren't, because we just started this last winter, and so we don't qualify. It's very disappointing. I know that, Mayor Cross is really vocal about the need for funding to continue these kinds of operations. And I know at the Housing Advisory Board, he was just very vocal about really trying to work with the Association of Mayors to approach the governor's office about some of these kinds of issues.
I have a question. And this has to do with the fact that we just began a winter shelter program here in Depoe Bay. And I'm new to the council. I didn't know that we were funding a winter shelter already.
We don't have one here in Depoe Bay.
I thought that's what we were doing with the community.
No. We gave them funds for the Newport.
At our community hall, did we not just agree that we were gonna turn that into
No, it's
a
going-
warming shelter
On an emergency basis
on an
only.
emergency basis, right?
Only, not every night.
Oh, so this is not about this is a winter shelter, it's not a warming shelter.
It's a winter shelter that operates from October 1st through March 31st, 7 days a week.
I see. And how do people from Depoe Bay get
Bus ticket, or I can actually pick one up.
there? And do you have clients from Depoe Bay?
Correct.
How many?
Oh, I'm sorry, your numbers was 5.
Information.
That was shown by IDs. So there's more people that say they're from somewhere, but we go off of what their IDs say, or when they self-report, when we ask them when was the last place you stayed, how long have you been there in the last 12 months. So we try to dig in to get more information to find out where they're from, but to get verification is off their ID.
And the average number of nights for.
I'm sorry, so the
Oh, yeah.
average nights, like I said, was 65, the longest was 125. But with the total stays of the shelter, it was 5,333. So that's a lot of money in hotel fees if you would do that.
Thank you.
And you're working with Karen to, on the navigation center.
I tell people Karen is my best friend.
Yeah, all of us, we love Karen. But, so that's in the progress as well, so that's gonna be wonderful. Any other questions for these ladies?
Thank you.
Thank you for being here this
Thank you for your
evening.
time.
Yes, absolutely, good luck.
Thank you.
No, okay. Okay, we'll go to committee reports, emergency preparedness.
Yeah, we're having a meeting on the 22nd. And we changed our hours to, instead of meeting at 5:30, we're gonna be meeting at 4 o'clock. It seems to be the same time for everybody. And that's really all I have at this time. Thank you.
We got 2 from Harbor this evening, do you want to both come up?
3,
Three.
Oh,
3.
yeah.
Yeah, you snuck in here. Who's in charge? Chad's in charge this evening?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's nothing really to report.
Oh,
We're gonna move our meetings to 6 o'clock.
Oh, you had to move back down, okay.
Yep, from 3:30 back to 6 o'clock, and
Yeah.
our next meeting is, next Wednesday,
Okay.
24th. And so my last report was pretty much pretty thorough, I
Oh,
think.
yes, it was, absolutely. Any other questions for Chad? Okay,
All right,
thank you.
thanks.
Planning, I don't see planning, I don't see
Yeah.
parks, and salmon enhancement, okay. Public comment, are there any public comments this evening? Not on the agenda, I just want to clarify. Yeah. Any public comments up above there? Okay. And we have a procurement request from the automation group. Has everyone had a chance to review all of this? This is extensive. Brady, are you able to bring us up to date on what this is all about?
Yes, the PLC, the PLC is needing upgraded at the wastewater treatment plant. And this does all the automation for the treatment of the sewer. It also brings us up to what our new NPDES, it's our discharge permit, mandates that we record some of the air and the RAS, which is the return activated sludge, that it'll help monitor that. The old PLC, we can't put any more cards in, it was put in 2002. It's just, it's seeing a lot of failures, and this was budgeted, and we had to wait for a while because of other issues, and now we're getting current pricing and stuff, but we're hoping to get just the material this year and then do the install and the labor next year. We're trying to get the most of the software and there's a firewall that's really expensive too for the PLC, so it's because it's public health. And if we get the mainly the equipment before July 1st, it'll save us some money rather than afterwards. So we're looking at, we have a window of opportunity to purchase some of this before July 1st. That's what we're aiming for.
Okay.
And working with TAG, which is the automation group, has done all the different phases at the water plant throughout the last 10 years.
So I'm seeing the price of $78,981 for this current fiscal year.
But I need approval from the full sole source determination, we'll just move the budget, that's why I'm having to do it this way.
So are you happy with that quote?
Yes, yeah, because if we go somewhere else, it would be total change out of everything. It'd be another, like a different Rockwell is what we currently use, which is the format for the SCADA system. So another company would come in with a whole different format that we'd have to adopt and change everything. So because it's sistered in with the water treatment plant, so we can remote when the operator's at home, and the swing shift operator can see on a laptop and run actually both, not literally run, but see all the operations at the water treatment plant for chlorine monitoring and pH control, things like that. It's the same at the wastewater treatment plant.
Better tracking and notification when there's issues.
And for alarms and stuff
Yeah,
too.
for the alarms, it's odd how they do it now, but it's just better for them to get this data. And part of it is also the security, we should really be upgrading in security, so people can't remote in and hack our systems, and that is a big part of what this one is to prevent that from happening.
Ours is so outdated, but it keeps it keeps us in compliance with
Our
Oregon Health and the state DEP. So they're mandated.
So I would
Oh, sorry.
move that a sole source contract be awarded to TAG as noted in our quote document, projects.
Okay, and that was for the 198,931.
And so the full amount, yeah.
What's total?
So I could read what was provided to us, do you want me to read this whole?
No.
Okay. So yeah, the full.
For the, It's been moved and seconded to accept the quotation, the sole source quotation from the automation group of $198,931. Is there any discussion on the motion?
This is also as a pool edit.
Oh, wonderful.
Even better.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, at this time, we've got a second reading of ordinance number, let's see, 34724. And is there a motion to accept reading ordinance number 347-24, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Depot Bay, establishing the position of city administrator and combining the positions of city administrator and city recorder into a city administrator/recorder position.
And this is the reading to read by title only for the second reading by title alone, correct?
Is there a motion to accept this?
I'll make a motion to accept it by time, to read by title only.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to read ordinance number 347-2024 by ordinance only. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposed? Okay, I'll open the floor for discussion on the ordinance. I think Fran had suggestions and these have all been incorporated. Is there any other discussions?
Yeah, so there was some new stuff added, I assume that was from the attorney. I'm fine with everything except, paid leave section 3.3, it's on page 52 of 116.
And it's the agreement.
Excuse me?
I was just telling him it's the agreement, so everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, page, on a revised, packet, it was, 52 of, so what, I was having trouble with, it's because it creates huge liability for the city, is to have, unrestricted, carry through of, vacation and a lot of sick leave. So I looked up, Department of Administrative Services, what state employees get and how they do that. And, you know, we have a very generous packet. I'm not, so concerned about the, amount of annual, but, that it's, there's no maximum in carryover. So and I brought copies because it's a lot to go over, and I don't know if we want to get it back, send it back again. It's not that much changes, but I brought copies so I don't have to just read it, and you guys can take a look at it. How can I handle that? Can I hand out this?
Well, is this to simply put a cap on it?
Yeah,
Do you have a number for it?
Yeah,
Okay, so you could just present a number, because that's a minor change.
but there was other suggestions that I thought were good too from DAS.
Okay.
Let me read it if you want to see more. Okay, so, so the place where it says, with no maximum would say up to 350 hours of unused vacation. So it shall be allowed to accrue unused vacation leave up to 350 hours. And then, you know, that then it would be paid out, any unused would be paid out upon termination, resignation, retirement. That doesn't change. So then this is the part that DAS allows because you cap it. So there's people that can't take vacation time because, you know, they're getting close to the cap. And then all hell breaks loose in City Hall, or there's another crisis or whatever. So they allow, with the permission of the supervisor, in this case us, for this position, that the employee would, we could authorize the cash payment of up to 60 hours upon determining that vacation leave cannot be taken before the vacation leave is lost. And it's only allowed once per year. And then additionally, and this is, again, it's what the state does, the administrative recorder may make a one-time request to cash out and receive payment for up to 40 hours of vacation leave once in each fiscal year, provided that there's a remaining balance of at least 60 hours of vacation leave left in that account. So even though we'd be capping it, rather than just keep it in line to accrue, these provisions would allow somebody who's working a lot of hours to get some reimbursement for it. And then
I just wanted to make one comment, if I might. There is a current policy on the books right now that you can cash out vacation as long as you have 40 hours on the books. So I would just say match that.
I'm sorry, what?
I would say match the current city policy, which is 40 hours, as long as you keep 40 hours
okay,
vacation.
Instead of 60.
Yeah.
Okay, and then in terms of sick leave, I thought the accrual of 960 hours accrual was annually. I mean, 96 hours annually shall be allowed to accrue unused sick leave to a maximum of 960 hours. That's a lot. And I was gonna also suggest that be capped at 350 hours. And then the 25% of the value of it, and then the rest of it stays the same.
This isn't an ordinance revision, so the fact that we're making changes right now doesn't fall under that. If you make massive changes to the ordinance, you have to start all over again. This is just the agreement with me and whatever you want to use going forward. So these changes are perfectly acceptable because you're not necessarily approving the agreement with the ordinance. The agreement is separate. Does that make sense? Okay. So I just want to make just clarity that it's okay to make these types of, it's like we're doing a negotiation. And these are fine with me. Council Rec asked me about them, and that's fine. I have no objections to any of the suggestions.
Okay. Any other questions? Alrighty. Is there a motion to accept, no, I can't find it.
Motion
Well, I'm finding it, I'll find it. I need a motion to accept ordinance 347-24 as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept ordinance 347-24, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Depoe Bay establishing the position of City Administrator and combining the positions of City Administrator and City Recorder into a City Administrator/Recorder position. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get this going here. New business, park reservation, oh, we've got a change in dates. Is Melissa there? Come on up, Melissa. Alrighty, you wanna tell us what's going on?
Oh, yeah, we, honestly, I know you guys, most of you saw last year, the capacity in community hall is 76. We had 82 seats in there last year, so we were already bursting at the seams with a line of about 45 minutes. So when I first approached, I actually talked to Kim and Brady about going to the city park to begin with. Went ahead and planned it like normal for the third weekend of April. Ticket sales have dramatically increased, so there's no way we could safely do it at community hall. Called Kim, asked her when the next date was. July 6th would not work for our community, I think, to try and do it in community hall. So we tried to pick a Saturday that wasn't too late, but also brought people in an appropriate time when we need them. May 11th works. And it works better for our suppliers. I personally have contacted every single ticket purchaser and every group that we expect. And out of all of them, I had a refund of a total of 2.
Who serves on your board of directors now?
There's Jen, Jesse, Autumn, and Lisa. We're gonna have a meet and greet soon, so you can come here.
Can I have last names?
I don't know his last name. I know there's a Jen, Donald, Lisa, Whitten, Jesse, yes, but I don't know Autumn's last name.
When do you have meetings to elect these officers, directors? Isn't that part of the membership?
Nope.
Oh.
Not the way the bylaws are written, no.
Oh, okay, you're not elected.
No, they can, anybody who fills out an application, which are always available as long as they are an active paying member, can be entered in, yeah. As soon as it's available, call and see if they're still interested, that's how it goes.
And who's funding all of this?
Funding all of what?
The crab feed.
Well, we have some funds and then the purchase of the tickets fund the rest.
Okay, alrighty, because,
There is no city money, there is no county money, there is no hundreds of thousands of dollars in grant money. What we do is all raised by what we do.
okay, how are you gonna be spending that here, if you have any?
The profits?
Yeah.
So we actually have like we partnered with a bunch of our local nonprofits, and they're doing some of the jobs in trade for, grant for, I guess fundraising dollars is the right way to say it. And then the rest will go to the next things. We pay for programs, and then there's another event, a big one to be had.
Plus, my concern is heads and beds is down, and
And you get tourism dollars and I don't, so I certainly spend as much as I can on that, but there's more that should be done.
right. And are you gonna be opening an office very soon?
If we could afford one, but there isn't one available that's in an appropriate price range. They shouldn't have got rid of the free one that they had once upon a time.
I have a question, do you have, as long as the budget, do you have it like the spreadsheets and who approves your budget,
The board,
Is that available for public viewing?
I'm sure it is, but I'll send it to you.
Okay, that would be great. I'd love to see that. Are there other questions?
What kind of activities for the crowd? I mean, it was always the wooden boat show.
Yes.
Historically, and that was the focus of the event in April. Crab Week kind of was a long afterward. So what else do you have going on besides feeding people crab?
But there's the chowder contest, we also have some live entertainment, and now that we have a little more time, there's a lovely woman who's looking at doing a fun little pork craft activity for people to do.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. This is, I'm surprised at the amount of rancor there is still in the community. I personally, I have stood back from this and watched this Chamber of Commerce operate. And I've done a complete 180. I was very questioned at the beginning because of the way the board was disassembled and reassembled. But I think sometimes that might have to happen with organizations and with businesses. And I've been very impressed with the efforts of this Chamber of Commerce as it is now, as it's starting to rebuild and reorganize. I don't know everything about what's going on, but I like the results that I've seen. And without these people stepping up and stepping forward, we'd have nothing. And so they're asking for nothing. So I think that we should give this group our support in whatever they're asking for tonight, which is to use our community hall as it should be used.
City Park.
And City Park. Thank you. And I know this is a hot topic for a lot of people. It's our equivalent of the abortion issue here in town right now. And that I think we should, give them the rope, and they will either, do a good job with it or hang themselves, I suppose. But so far, I think you've done a good job.
How much are tickets this year?
28, and we're actually absorbing all of these. So 28 for a whole crab and 18 for a half crab. And then one of our nonprofit partners is gonna do hot dogs. So there's a non-seafood, yeah.
Has that rate gone up?
What's that?
Has the rate gone up?
It went up by $1 from last year. But we also.
Did it last year?
We did have it last year, yeah. And
Small
one thing
one.
we changed last year, that we're pretty proud of is actually we get fresh, local sourced crab delivered to us. Last year it wasn't backed, but thank goodness for some amazing people that got back rather quickly. This year it will definitely be backed and cleaned and ready to go. So we get it truly local.
And the community center is rented on that date, so you won't have any tables or chairs from there.
Yeah.
So,
But I should still have a picnic table, so it'll go under the big tent we're renting.
okay.
Just one more question. How many tickets have you sold so far?
Oh, it's well over 400.
Good job.
Parking could be an issue.
Oh, yes, no, I'm
It's
okay.
halibut season and there's gonna be a lot of folks launching. So it's gonna-
There definitely is. So when you first turn down right here, immediately to the right, I just need to be able to safely control just that getting down for the buses to be able to turn around. But I don't intend to take any of the harbor parking or the boat launch parking, I guess you would say, but I do need everything from the speed bump back because we've got trash and porta potties and things that have to go there.
You know, we discussed it before and I told her she can't interfere with this because she was fully supportive, no problem, adjustment to it was fine.
Maybe the buses are coming. Those.
I hope we can,
They did for Salmon Bay.
even with the boats down there, because it can get quite full, as you well know.
I did for Salmon Bay, we took the first, the right hand and then the center row, so that we could turn them, but I only need just a quick turn just to be able to make it safe. That's it.
Okay.
None of the actual boat and trailer parking.
Because the boats do line up alongside of that as well.
Well, they wouldn't be able to, that part I would have to have for safety, for the turning around and then closes, getting them in and out.
I have a question. Do you anticipate most people coming by bus because that doesn't leave much parking for anybody else?
No, and we're gonna utilize a lot of the free shuttles, and then we have some members who have offered up some other parking. Or sorry, not free shuttles, free parking, and we have a shuttle that's gonna go around, like we've done, what we did with Salmon Bay before, so we'll do that again. We utilize that, we do have a few buses for sure coming, in fact, one that, had already purchased, I think, was at 26 tickets, when we changed the date, increased by 20 each.
It's gonna be a busy weekend, yeah.
And that's kind of our thought is we're bring mom to the beach for Mother's Day, take her shopping, take her whale watching, and take her for a nice carpet.
So we do it in a motion.
Yes, please.
I move we approve the application fees to the Depoe and City Park for 17th and 18th.
Pardon me, it's actually, she wrote the wrong date, not Melissa, but, it's actually the 11th and 12th, or
This would be 10.
10th and 11th.
10th, sorry.
Yeah, she updated the packet, but yeah, it's the 10th and 11th.
The 10th won't come down till Monday.
I'll second that motion.
So what, I'm sorry, the 10th and
The 10th won't come down until Monday.
The 10 will be in the park, correct?
10th and 11th, so that's the 12th?
That would be the 13th. Saturday's the 11th, 12th is Sunday, 13th is Monday.
So we should extend.
You're not worried about the tent being in there all weekend? You're not worried about the tent being in there all weekend?
It's fine the last two events. We had it Salmon Bay and then we had it again for the fish and chips.
So we should extend the dates on the agreement through Monday.
You can, if you put it to Monday, you're essentially closing the park. And I don't think you wanna do that. So everything will be pulled down on the 11th, correct? Except for the 10th. So using it, and you're not really closing it on the 10th, you're really just closing it essentially on the 11th.
They have to set up the tent.
So the 10th and 11th then, okay.
So just.
Well, and porta potties will be delivered when it's a
The
little
10th,
smaller.
the 10th and 11th.
So 5, 10, and 5, 11. Not what's in this application.
Correct.
Any other discussion?
Did we have a second?
Yes.
Thank you.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
No.
I don't know if, you probably should have done this before, if you have any comment related, if there's any people,
Oh, I'm sorry.
anybody who wants to speak related to this item?
Are you asking from the?
Yeah, I'm asking, online as well, if you wish to speak about this item, please use your hand, the reaction to hand raise, so we know to call on you. We have one person right here.
Hello.
And I watch for your hand raise.
I just want to speak and I want to speak to Melissa because I don't like to put things on social media without backing them up. But
I'm really disappointed that you would cancel an event 5 days before it's to be held. Has really, I mean, I have done a lot of event planning. You're talking about porta potties, you're talking about buses, all the things that go into making an event work, and you cancel it 5 days? I'm sorry, it looks really bad on all of us sitting here, all of us, and you in the chamber, and I don't know why you canceled it. I'm really sorry you had to cancel it, but that really concerns me, and it's a big red flag for me, Melissa. I hope your event goes well. You know, all of us want to see everybody succeed here in Depoe Bay. But when you do something like that, that just sends me big red flags that things aren't right. And how did you cancel I mean, why did you choose to cancel an event 5 days out of that magnitude? It just
I
doesn't
think you
make
have to
sense.
address the mayor.
Yeah,
First.
you
I think
really,
public
you,
comment.
pardon me, if anybody is going to speak, you
All right,
have to
sorry.
address
I'm
the
gonna say,
council.
I'm just, and I'll leave it at that. I just want to follow up my comments because I think it's really important that people make a comment, and I will follow it up, and I'll just say, you know, I'd like to support her in everything she does, but it's a big red flag to me.
Thank you, Liz.
I don't see that anybody has raised their hand online. Looks like Chile's coming up.
Hi, I'm Sheila Williamson. I'm a resident here in Depoe Bay, and I have now been coming here for 2 years to talk about red flags in regard to the chamber.
Pardon me, Shule, could you sign in as well? I should have you sign in. I'm being reminded by my assistant.
Okay.
It helps her because then she knows who's talking.
Thank you. You're welcome. It is sad that online for months and months and months, the Depoe Bay crab feed has been being advertised to happen on its traditional date of the third Saturday in September. And that it was advertised that West Fish Company would be supplying the crab, which they have been temporarily closed. And I'm not sure when the Depoe Bay Chamber found that out. But that could be one of the reasons, and so it feels like poor planning. And then it just is discouraging also if I was a tourist coming here from Springfield, Oregon, on one of those buses, because I had probably planned this date well in advance. They've been planning this event since the end of last year. And I wouldn't want to change my plans. And now you can't get a refund because you would have had to ask for a refund before April 5th.
Where do you get that from? I offered every single person that put.
No, I'm talking about the Willamette Lane. So if I had bought a bus ticket to come to the crab feed through an outside community, I'm sitting here feeling like if I was a tourist from Willamette Lane coming here, I would really implore this community to make the chamber follow through with planning large events. Because this could initially cost somebody $94 or $113, and this information is all available online. And none of it was changed until I started blasting some of it on Facebook. Anyway, I'd like to leave that for everybody.
Thank you.
And this isn't the first time this has happened, this has been happening for 2 years, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
It's okay, Michelle. Please sign in now.
Okay, I'm gonna try to calm down a little bit because I'm pretty upset right now after that last little comment that we just had. What absolute ridiculousness is happening right now with these comments that are coming in without any kind of truth to them? And just being, she wants to sit here and complain to this council about how we as a community should go against the chamber who's trying to put on these events. And one breath saying that no one should support the chamber because of whatever issues she deems to be a problem with the chamber. And on the other breath saying they should be made accountable to follow through with these events. She's literally, comments like hers are what's dividing the city from making these events successful. And the only thing that comes from comments like hers are hatred and anger and drama. And it's just, and that is what's been going on for the last 2 years. Coming from a person that served on that chamber, I can tell you that is why I left. Not because of any other red flags that I saw, but because I got sick and tired of the abuse that I got online because I was serving my goodness, it's a volunteer position that busy people give their times to. And we have to fight every step of the way. And we're afraid that our own personal businesses are going to be affected by this because of whatever rumors are allowed to be spread everywhere. And it's really hard not to say anything on social media. We all know not to fight that battle. But it's the same people with the same group of keyboard warriors that come out every single day. And it's all clockwork. Before every event, this happens. And if they're going to get a platform to speak and slander a group of people, which I don't know who's on the chamber anymore. I feel bad for them though, because they have no idea what's coming. And they have no chance of succeeding if this is the way they're gonna be treated. So I think maybe we should all kind of consider those people that are giving their hours and their time. Instead of sitting here and trying to interrogate these people for trying to put on an event that no matter what they do, they're gonna lose. The one that I was involved with, criticized because we sold out too soon. It was a hugely successful event. We sold out, but somehow we still did something back. It's just living in this town. I've been here for 20 years. I've been trying to run businesses here for 20 years. I've seen the hate pills that people take here. And it's like, why do we need to do this? You want to bring community together? You want to sit up here and talk about how you care about this community? Then stop spreading all of this toxicity everywhere. Stop spreading slander. Stop coming in front of the committee and trying to make this something that's not even really a council issue. I mean, she came here to get acceptance to use the park, not to be interrogated.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
And I still have nobody on mine.
okay.
Do I get to respond at all or?
It's not supposed to be a debate. Sorry.
Okay, let's move on to her releases. And please begin. Oh, thank you. Never been had a chance to read them. Thanks for all your work on this. This is wonderful. Good information. Appreciate it.
We did take a lot of time on
Yes.
this, and we did a lot of talking with other communities to try to find out. And again, we find People Bay is very unique, as we
Yeah.
all know.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
So that, what other people are doing as far as charging, couldn't really relate directly to us, so I'll let Jeff know, but we think we found a solution.
Okay.
Okay, so like Liz said, we've been working on this for quite some time. And it's, some of the history is rather vague, obscure, hidden, whatever. It's just not terribly clear. Anyhow, given the situations and everything that have occurred in the past, we were asked to input on bringing back the leases of the three docks that remain on city property. And as you have in your document that we submitted to you, there should be an engineer's inspection of these docks, because it's been quite some time since anything's been done. We say that the lengths of the current docks should be measured, because basically that's what we're talking about, is this area over which, of which the docks cover over the harbor. And again, we agreed to recommend utilizing the rate schedule that the city staff put together. And all what we're asking for is that the city council accept the recommendations of the Harbor Commission regarding the leasing of the three docks in the harbor.
Okay. Any questions for Jeff?
Yeah, thank you guys for all of this work, and I understand that Carla is also a big help.
Oh, yes,
during
yeah,
this
city
event.
staff.
Yeah. So, who would you say would be, who's engineer, the city's engineer, or businesses that should get an engineering inspection? It's their dollars, right?
Whoever would satisfy or survey a dock to make sure that it was safe, operational and safe. I have no idea, really. But, since nobody does this, you know, this is, again, like
But
Liz said.
it's the docks are owned by the companies, but the
That's true.
space is leased, so, okay, it would have, in my mind, it would have to be the companies, they have to have their own engineer certify that the docks are
Well,
safe.
I mean, that's something that is, you know,
Ours could review,
Was
our engineer could review.
We could review it to
results.
make sure we have okay, so, I really like the majority of the recommendations, but I have some specific, changes. We haven't had any payment for 18 years. So, what I'd like, instead of having these different schedules, that the 14 across the board, it would be 14, and we don't, it's only linear feet, it's not, square feet?
It's linear.
It's linear, okay. That might be adjusted later, but I would like to get something in place sooner than later, so $14.37 across the board for linear foot, you know, effective as soon as we can get in place, with yearly rate increases tied to the CPI. That's a change, because it was like every 5 year, 5%, but I think it should really be tied to the CPI, the cost, whatever it's called, consumer price index. Yeah, and I agree, require the insurance and indemnification of the city, and that would be tied to whatever our city insurance people, CSI, whatever they are, would you say what the appropriate indemnification insurance rate would be, and require safety, what did you say, safety, and operability inspections of docks by the business engineers to be reviewed by the city. And, you know, when we apply it to the existing lease footage right now, and if a new measurement or survey comes to our attention that says, oh, we have less space, then we adjust it. But I'd like to get something in place sooner than later, And then we can adjust it if the linear footage turns out to be different.
Yeah, if I may, this was, the Harbor Commission offered these recommendations based on the fact that the city may want to go back and reissue the leases and start leasing again. We did not, and nor do we intend to write the leases.
Yeah.
So that's something that.
No, the city will have to do that,
The
yeah.
city council will have to come to, we just want to be sure that these suggestions and recommendations are included in whatever the city decides to do as they go down the street.
It was a fine report, it was really well thought out and really well researched, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any other comments or suggestions?
I just really wanna thank you guys. You did it.
Yeah, it took 15 years and it got done. Congratulations.
Well, no,
And it's a good report. I mean,
We haven't been working out for 15 years.
I know, but the Harbor Commission and previous councils have,
Yeah.
kicking that can down the road.
It's time, it's not a huge amount of money, but it's money that we all need for our city, and it's only the right thing to do. Good.
Perfect.
Thank
So,
you.
so do I get to make the motion to accept the Harbor Commission's report?
Whoa,
Or
So I made some changes.
we need I need a recommendation.
Oh, okay.
Because this isn't really a motion, because we're not making a final decision.
Oh, okay, I was just going by what they asked.
Right, but we just need a recommendation, for instance, Council Rec is recommending the 1430, whatever that is. Do we, go ahead and do the leases, do we do the insurance, do we do a survey, what do we do?
All of the above.
Well, I don't think we need a survey.
Okay.
You have lots of various surveys on file. Okay. Legal leases, the actual measurement of the dog space, and the engineering report on each
Of the,
of the docks themselves.
Okay.
To determine safety and
okay,
and insurance.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But now, hit me again with this thing on the survey. You said we have plenty of surveys. What are we talking about there? A survey of what?
The dock, the harbor,
area. Harbor
and
survey.
what's.
Oh, you mean,
from the-
oh,
the
okay,
assets,
okay, an actual survey.
Where they're sitting over.
It looked like that.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so I just need direction, but now that we have it, we can put something together to bring it to the council for.
So you okay with tying it to the CPI annually?
Okay.
And the inspection would be done by the companies, but gone over by the city engineer. Okay.
Pardon me, if I understood that, did you just say you want the leaseholders to do the inspection to?
They needed to get their,
Yeah,
the leaseholders, it's not our docks, it's their docks, they're just
Or
renting the space.
do we do it and send them a bill? I mean,
I think they might have their own engineers, or say, they have to know that their docks are safe and operable for their own business. We don't want to take on that obligation.
If I might make a suggestion, make it a condition of renewal.
oh, that's a good idea. On the lease.
Well, there's no lease now, so we're
So in the
entering
writing.
into new leases.
So just like we ask for insurance, we ask for
Certification.
inspection. I like it.
Yeah.
Good to go now?
Okay, well, I just sort of want a question, because I'm thinking, if they get insurance on the dock or using that, wouldn't that be adequate to show that they're not gonna give them insurance on something that doesn't function, so
You'd be surprised.
I don't know that do we need a separate report when if they get insurance coverage, do we need a separate engineering report to say those docks are safe?
I think so. There are thousands of people that walk on those docks, and even though they say they can indemnify the city, whatever these insurance, I think if we don't do diligence in making sure that those docks are safe and operable, I think there's that we didn't do the diligence, these are old docks. That's my thought at least, I don't know what other people think, but I would feel comfortable.
So I have a question, if they insure them, do they inspect them?
That, I don't know, I would have to find out what the requirements are, and that's certainly something I can talk to our
I think that's
CIS insurance representative about it and say, if they identify us from these docks, is that enough coverage to protect the city? If the docks fail, or should we get I can ask the question, do the research.
Mayor, I would say on this, I kind of like this idea of allowing them to get insurance on it. Insurance these days, you just can't buy it without an inspection. And, people approach these docks, on various stairwells and other access points, and you can just take this out a little too far. I think it's good enough that these, and there should be language in there that I see indemnifies the city from, and as long as that's strong enough, and shouldn't we ask our attorney in this case would this be something?
He's been involved in all of this.
Okay, would he weigh in on this idea of whether or not an engineer is needed to
You could ask him.
protect the city?
That's definitely something we can do the research on. I don't know if we need a city engineer for that, but certainly our experts at CIS who provide us advice for free.
I like that.
Yeah. They can, I can have them weigh on it. They have CIS attorneys and all this is provided for free, so, if after I give you this information, if you want more, then we can certainly get our city and, attorney involved in this discussion.
Hopefully it'll be simple.
Yeah, if we had different insurance providers, I would probably say that, but to bring the city attorney in, but they have them on staff, I talk to them all the time, so.
I'm not fighting the idea of getting an engineer, but, but if the fewer impediments that we can throw up to these folks, the better.
I'll draft something and get it before everyone. Any other?
Fish plant.
Yes, fish plant.
Okay, you also have, the Harbor Commission recommendations on the, fish plant, renewal of the fish plant leases. And, some of the city staff and the mayor and I, went along and did a walkthrough of the fish plant, a month or so ago. And, I hadn't been in there for quite some time, but, a lot hasn't changed, but the owner has made some improvements on upstairs in the area where the cooler is and where they do preparation for the fish and put those industrial curtains, cooler curtains that you go through without having to open and close doors all the time. And painted the floor and the walls. And that looks pretty good.
Very good,
Yeah.
very good, yeah.
There are things, however, that do need to be fixed. That were recommended in the inspection that was done quite some time ago. And also maybe it needs to be inspected again. Engineering inspection of the building itself. Because it should be made clear as to who is responsible for doing what on that building. The city owns the building. But what should city staff be doing? What should the lessee be doing on the building? And there were two floor drains that have been holes in the floor for ages. I mean, as long as I've been going in and out of the fish plant, which has not been terribly long. the one recommendation that was made a long time ago was that they put plumbing, hook up the drains. And so that's one of the recommendations we made, that that should be done, because having no drain, basically what the water or whatever is leaking through the open flow drains is affecting the understructure of the first floor. So you got some rock going on there. And another
I was
piece,
just say, pardon me, Jack, you wanted to talk about the hoist?
let's not go.
Oh.
Yeah. Additionally, the harbor regulation, section 92.06 H states that the hoist shall be operated only, the hoist that's on the dock outside the fishermen, shall be operated only by city employees. There's nothing in the harbor regulation or the fish plant lease which gives anyone else the right or permission to operate the hoist of the fish plant. And I know that, and I think a lot of people know that city employees are not the only ones that have operated that hoist in the past. No, currently the hoist is inoperable, I believe, right?
Yeah, there's not one on there, that's just a jib.
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah.
it's on there, but the employees have been certified.
Yeah, right, yeah, the employees can do it,
Operate.
but
We need to change.
we have seen, people who are not city employees operate that hoist.
I saw it last year.
And so, I guess, the recommendation is either change, in the lease, if you wanna have someone other than city employees do it, and then, but the city should still certify or train whoever wants to use that hoist. Put it in the lease, and and also then clarify the harbor regulation to say that others than people other than city employees may use the hoist after being trained by the city to do so.
Does Jeff come in to work with you on the lease, Ken?
That's good. Oh, Jeff, no. I did talk to him because he's gonna be gone. I think he leaves at the end of this month, and I've asked him to come in. But there was a little bit of hurt feelings, I think, after we had to stop the fresh fish without a permit.
There was a little bit of hurt.
Yeah, I think I upset him when I said he couldn't have that fresh fish kid doing things. And so he's.
So the operator of the fish plant was doing that?
He was allowing somebody to do it, sublease, if you will.
So I think that's something that needs to be in the lease.
It is in there that's not permitted.
Okay. Just maybe.
It's always been in there, so that was pointed out that was in there.
That what is not permitted?
You can't sublease, he can't sublease
Okay.
without coming, let me rephrase that. He has to come, they would have had to come to the city to get permission to sublease.
Okay.
And then there would be additional permits.
Right, there was a conditional use permit required.
And license.
And, yep, and license, there's a process, so.
Just make sure.
I will try to reach out to him and see if I can get him to come in, because he did say he wanted some things changed.
Language changes.
He's had a concern whether or not the council would be willing to, lease with him again, because he's got plans, but I didn't think it was an issue of the council not wanting to lease with him again, but what the conditions and whether or not you, how you wanted to increase. The Harbor Commission is recommending that continue with the 2.5 annual increase, whether the council supports that or not is something we would need to know.
Yes.
So I think again, these are good suggestions. I'd like a few things changed. So this, I also say for annual increases tied to the CPI rather than kept at 2.5%. And I think we have to be clear, like they're saying, who does what. But if the leasee made changes that aren't up to code, it's his responsibility to bring it up to code. If they made things that needed a building permit or whatever, or wasn't built So I'd like to clarify that, anything that's done by the applicant that's not up to code, is the responsibility of the applicant to do it. Other than that, I'm happy with the other, the inspections and stuff.
If I could just say, I think that the message to the person that's leasing the building is that we want to work with them. We definitely want that building occupied. And the idea that they wanted to open up another business down there, I don't think anybody could be opposed to a fish-oriented business bringing more activity down there, as long as it's done correctly. I like a lot of people, I was astonished at the way that thing transpired. Astonished probably at the naivete of somebody that would, open a business practically in front of City Hall without a business license and all the permits.
Yeah, we spoke to the young man,
I mean, it showed, I think they're right, there is an opportunity down there, an opportunity to make money and get a good business going, and we're all for that here on the city council. I think.
Okay.
Speaking for everybody else.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay.
It just, maybe there's no direction or something.
You're going with their recommendations, correct? Okay, and,
Except for, I want the consideration of the increase annually to the CPI.
oh, you wanna go to CPI now, that's right.
And also the clarification of any improvements made by the PC that weren't up to code should be his responsibility, or I think to clarify, the city should make all the other improvements that were, structural and stuff like that, the drainage and stuff like that.
I did speak to our city engineer when he was here on 5th of April, and told him that next time he was here, we would want him to make time to take a look at the fish plan, so. Just make sure that it's structurally safe and sound.
Keep it on the schedule. Has everyone had a chance to read the Oregon Health Authority drinking water source protection letter of interest here? Request for project proposals. This was, pardon me, ma'am, Laura is
The person who wrote it with,
okay.
correct?
She's funded.
Oh, wonderful.
I had a question about that as to who wrote it. I thought this was very well
It was
written.
It was wonderful.
Laura, is it on there?
Hi, Laura.
Laura.
There she is. Hi, there she is. This is wonderfully done. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And I think it would do the ticket for us.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's well received. It's just part of my role to help boost capacity for the city to apply for grant funds like this and to do project work in your source watershed area. So it's all just information that I largely gathered either from written reports that already existed for public availability and consumption, or from talking to staff and people in your community. And so it's all just draft and recommended, and ultimately it's up to your city to decide if it feels representative to you all. So, but thank you for the kudos. I appreciate it.
Wonderful job. Any questions for Laura?
Let me just get a, when you're ready, just get a motion to approve the submission of the letter of interest.
Okay.
I move that we approve the drinking water source protection letter of interview, review, and approval.
It should be a letter of interest. Sorry.
Letter of interest.
Yeah. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to accept the letter as submitted, to submit as our letter of interest. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Laura, we're good to go. What's the next step?
Submitted, you have to sign it.
Just, sign it, someone, okay, we'll sign it and submit it. Okay, we'll do that. And we'll get this done.
Yeah, the deadline to submit is by this Friday, and whoever the authorized person is signs, and then it gets sent in as an attachment in an email. I think is the easiest way to do it, to Tom Pate, and that information is in the like intro section of the letter of interest. Sort of has a how to.
Okay, we've got it. All righty, we'll get that off tomorrow.
Great.
Thank you again. This was wonderfully done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you, Council.
We've all had a chance to review the legislative summary of bills. That was, thank you, Kim. I've gotten that from the League of Oregon City and found it very interesting, so I appreciate that.
Well, everybody would have gotten it, but it's a lot of material to read and digest. So I flagged the things that I just wanted to make sure that you were all aware of. There will probably be more information. Some of the stuff related to the housing and the planning will go, is going to the planning commission, because some of this will affect us.
So it's, Steve,
Scott?
Scott, excuse me. There was one thing you didn't flag that might be interesting to show about the battery storage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that might be helpful for that.
Okay, I'll show that to you. But I thought there was some really kind of interesting things in here, so it's a lot to keep up on. And the fact that the League of Oregon Cities put this summary together, it's really appreciative. Because there's a lot to track.
Yeah. We've got a capital improvement request for fencing at the waste water treatment plant. Has everyone had a chance to review that? It's a decking quote from Brady. You want to adjust that for us?
Sure. So we got fence quotes. It's kind of hard to get cyclone fence with security interface into the fence itself, which is going to be 3 strands of barbed wire. But we've had prices all over the board, all the way from, as you can see, like 130,000 with a gate with the same keypad. And then the vendor one, which is local, it's out of Celeste, was recommended by Councilor Solomon. And I got a hold of Jerry, and he came out and gave us a quote, basically the same specs as Rick's custom fencing. You can see the difference, it's real. And when he came out with a number, well, is that correct? And he's like, yes.
Yes,
I
I questioned it as well, as I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, are we gonna get good quality for this?
You wanna see this work,
So
go to the house.
Jimco Fence, we've tried other, Jimco Fence is now out of business. We tried 2 other companies that just do cedar fencing, kind of, but we've made several phone calls. It's just not an area of contracting that is really done even in the Portland metro area.
And I've
We
seen
can
it,
say
so their very fencing has gotten so expensive right now.
Yeah, for travel time.
Really expensive.
So
Anyway, yeah.
this is just for the one siding.
It's for the north side, and then a secure gate coming in that is auto with a keypad coming in. That's easier for our garbage, because right now our garbage, when they come and dump all the city dumpsters, along with deliveries, they have to use a key to get out and unlock padlocks, and there's other locks, tied to locks with different vendors, and that'll prevent all people having an entry code. It's all interchangeable. It's a pretty good system he was showing me. It's similar to the same ones that are used in the area for other cities. So.
Is the rest of the fencing around the area okay?
Well, we should address, I mean, we have repaired quite a bit of it, but we're gonna try to get it into the next year's budget. We're gonna get numbers to finish the west and east side, and then the back of the south side.
Okay.
Which isn't as bad as the north side's pretty bad.
And the automatic gate's pretty important. Sometimes the guys have forgotten their keys or put them in a different truck, so they climb over the fence, and I don't want them.
Yeah, we can't have that, because we have security cameras there. And
Yeah, so.
just about everything now.
Yeah, so now it's automatic, so they won't have to worry about not bringing their keys.
Is there a motion to accept the bid of $15,300?
I'll make that motion to accept that.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to accept the estimate from Coastal Fence and Deck of $15,300. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's get that fencing done.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. And then, we're getting quotes on the domes then from
Yes, yes.
Coastal Fencing, that's great, thank you.
What would you say?
We're getting quotes on the rest of it, and for it to go into the budget.
For this budget.
Before we go into staff reports, we had a resignation from Lindsay Bedingfield, our counselor. Is there a motion to accept her, resignation from city council?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the resignation of Lindsay Bedingfield from city council. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Did Lindsay, list the reason why she was leaving?
Family issues?
Would you send her a thank you note?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. And going on to staff reports, we've got a.
Pardon me.
Oh, I'm
This is
sorry.
several part things, so
Yeah.
we, so you're accepting the resignation, and she also resigned from the Emergency Preparedness Committee. So you're accepting her resignation from both the city
Shall
council.
I redo them?
Huh?
Shall we do them then?
Yeah, because do that for both, please.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the resignation, of city council as well as the emergency preparedness committee.
You're just amending your motion.
I amend it.
Okay, I'll accept that amendment.
Okay. All in favor of that? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Amended, okay. Okay, so,
So,
When's your term up?
at the end of this year. So, so the second part is, we have a vacancy on the Emergency Preparedness Committee. The vacancy, the membership requires 2 council members. So you can fill that spot tonight if you want to. Or somebody has already expressed interest, although she's not said anything
I'm
yet.
sorry. I'm just weary.
Well, I would like to recommend Kathy Short for that position.
And I would like to take that position too.
There you go. Yay.
Okay, so you're motioning to appoint Kathy as
As a member of the emergency preparedness.
the council member, so we need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint myself to the Emergency Preparedness Committee. All in favor, or any discussion?
Power vested.
Mayor, I would like to say this, I'm gonna vote for this, because I think that you're doing a great job on this. I want to see you carry on. But I'd really like to see this committee comprised of volunteer personnel and not
Why not
city
volunteers?
councilors. Well, not city councilors. It's our job to oversee the work of the committees.
Right.
And it's awfully tough to do that when our own members sit on the committee. That's my only comment.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then, you say we have to get applications by May 6th?
Well, that's a date,
Okay.
arbitrary date that I put in there, you just have to decide, I have to get it to the news media, on Monday, because the paper only does Wednesdays, so I missed the deadline, so if that's the date that you want, then it's up to the council. You can go for longer, you can go for shorter.
Now that's to fill the city council seat?
Yes, that's
Okay,
to,
so can we not do anything and let it go through a regular election process? Because that expires at the end of this year, correct?
you can choose not
So if
to
you choose
backfill
not
that
to,
position.
Then it would just go into the regular.
Or you choose someone that would fill the spot and maybe they run again when it comes time, but it's just, I don't think there's anything that says you. I would have to ask a question about whether you have to fill it. I mean, that's normally what's done, even though this close Millsburg runs through the same thing. They had a counselor leave, they filled it, and he ran again, he ran for the spot.
when it came up, so.
Is this answered by the charter?
It is not answered by the charter. It just says when there's a vacancy, it's filled by appointment. And then the council rules tell us how we do it. If you want, for the next meeting, I can reach out to our city attorney to find out whether or not it has to be filled, but, before the end of the term.
So if there's an election, so it's the end of the year, the term runs out, but the elections are in November, so applications would have to be in like
We'll post in August.
So,
But the counselor would not start until January.
oh, okay. Yeah.
The only good thing about having the number that we have is if there's a tie, you have another person that is the tiebreaker, and that's why I would think we should try to find a replacement.
I think we should open it and see if we get applications for the position.
Are you happy with May 6th, or do you want sooner or later?
Yeah.
I realized how close it was today.
Not doing
Okay. Did you review the application and the cover sheet? Any questions on that? That's this thing, pages 109 and 110. These are I just found I stole from another city. I thought these were great questions for feedback to find out, maybe to gauge people's interest in serving.
I thought it was excellent.
I'm sorry, what are you referring to?
Page 109 and 110.
I ran out of pages, I don't go to page 109 on my hard copy.
It's a city councilor application.
Just give that.
Oh.
It just kind of lists the duties and assignments and qualifications and some general questions.
Yeah, well, since there are budget meetings that are gonna be happening, it's not potential, it's actual additional commitments.
Yes, I can update that.
Yeah.
So we'll open it up and see if we get some applications.
Okay.
Okay. Updates on the, goings on in the city. Any questions for Brady or Kim as to what's going on? I love those pictures of the pylons, that's still the nightmares.
Yeah, he thought I would like to see that.
Thank you, that was just wonderful.
Scary. I do have one quick update, the local Lincoln County Emergency Management Grant, I applied for that today. I'm working on the Resiliency Hubs and Networks grant and the other grant, so we have a little time on the other ones, but I'm trying to get the Resiliency Hubs and Networks grant for that package that you guys wanted, so that's pretty much an easy done deal, because you just say, I want this package, so.
So Brady, you sent an update from Spectrum as to when we're gonna get our streets done.
We just got an email together with all the photos in the areas. There's over 46 areas that need road repair. And there's about 8 different sidewalk issues. I'm going through Spectrum and not through Cablecom, who caused it. Because at first, I was told from Spectrum, go to Cablecom, it's their job to fix the streets. And I'm getting no response. So I'm getting no email response or voicemails or anything. I'm calling, leaving messages and emails and texts. So next thing is to go to the main
We're going up.
management in Spectrum that have this area that we talked to in the first place, that sat down with us in first original pre-construction meetings. So those are the people we're reaching out to now.
Oh, thank you, okay.
Because, yeah, I mean, it's
The weather's
a lot of
clearing up.
staff time just trying to get them to
I know.
do
It's
anything.
outrageous.
Brady's spending a lot of time getting Paul ready for when Brady is out for a while, which everybody knows is the end of this month.
Yeah, the 30th. They've been in Little Oak Cove, the boring company, which is another company. They're actually a little better at Cablecom, but they're hitting stuff almost on a
Yeah, they had a
daily
break
basis.
today.
They had another service line.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Well, partly is because of the old records and
Yeah.
some of the pipe doesn't have the tracer wires, it's just
Yeah,
makes
but-
it a little more challenging. So we can't blame it all on them 100%, but we can't blame them for not doing the roads, though.
Yeah, I'm not a firm believer in coat hangers and witching rods and,
No.
yeah, I've learned the hard way with
Yeah.
a shovel that doesn't really pan out.
Yes.
Updates on staffing, additional staffing?
We did.
Yes, we had some luck there. We got,
We had some great candidates this month.
yeah.
You
We've got, one guy for maintenance we have that's, lives in Otter Rock, got a good resume, a lot of,
Parks.
parks and
Landscaping.
landscaping experience, yeah. And then utility, he's a former, was he, National Guard? Army National Guard. Yeah, and he's, got a great resume and a good guy. He lives right here in Depoe Bay on Collins Street and, yeah, it's really.
When did they start?
2 weeks for Spencer. He's got another job that he's giving his notice to, and Shane can actually start Thursday. We can background check. I'm doing all the protocol for hiring, but yeah, it's great. And we need to because we got one of the guys are on vacation, so we're really short-handed. It's starting to pick up in the harbor.
And they have that seasonal, we have one of the gentlemen here interviewed,
For a few
is going to, Roy's meeting with him to do the seasonal fueling, which we desperately need right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and this guy has a lot of wharf experience in Alaska and building docks and wharves, so he's got a lot of, but it's perfect if he wants to take the position. It's the temporary, he's looking for a full-time job, but
we'll
it's
have
gonna
an
be your
opening
foot
as
in the
well.
door if he wants to do the seasonal fueling. We could really use his knowledge and experience in harbor. It's great.
That's great.
And we'll have another opening in the fall when, one of our utility workers, Mark Sachs, retires. October, I think it is.
31st, he said.
Any other questions for?
I have a question for Kim. Kim, did the city engineer have a chance to look at potential sites for caches?
He looked at the one on Stonebridge and he doesn't see any issues with that site at all. So we're definitely moving forward with that site being where the new cache is. I did speak with Gina, the president of HOA, and we talked about that. And so we just need to move forward with the agreement on getting that going, because we just want something that says this is what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna do. I did not take him to the post office because that's a pretty flat surface. He really doesn't, there's nothing to inspect there. And I didn't take him to behind the post office. I think there's a berm there, so that's probably not a good place for it. But that was the only.
How about the existing parking lots?
He wouldn't have needed to see those because those are just flat surfaces. The existing parking lot would be more of an issue. Brady, we're talking about the rockfish.
Oh, rockfish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it would
We have to
really
do a little
be,
research. That's not a true parking lot, it's really an intersection, and if it does get developed, we have to change our plan.
what do you mean it's not a true parking lot?
It's an intersection of a road, we just utilize it for parking. Across from the community hall.
No, a rockfish, Conway.
Oh, Conway, yeah, that would be fine.
What's it?
It might be a site structure. but-
What's it to
Yes.
say, owns that?
Right.
That property?
We would have to, and I actually asked Kit to look at the rules on that because Brady brings up a good point that it could be a height restriction,
Okay,
you know,
Yeah, for a viewpoint.
okay.
But-
And then the property behind City Hall, that's by the back 40, that goes from the back 40 to Indian Trail.
Oh, I forgot all about that one.
Okay.
I think that's a matter though of, that would be also site clearing. So, I mean,
It's
he
fine,
can
though.
weigh in on that, but he doesn't really need to, it's just a matter of, I think that I need to, would you have to cut into it?
Yeah, it drops off in the.
Yeah, but would you
we-
have to,
You have to take some trees out and stuff, but
Right.
we can look at it.
okay,
How about the area behind my house?
that's another one of those, that it's just simply a matter of clearing.
Yeah. you know,
And whether or not the cash would fit in that zone and what it would take. Remember that the
Yeah.
planning commission was recommending
right,
CUP program, so we might have to do a lot of CUPs, but I'll ask Kit to take a look at that one too, just to verify.
I appreciate that, thank you. That's goodness about Stonebridge.
Yeah.
I like that.
yeah, we gotta keep attention.
Are there any closing public comments this evening? Yes, Ted, good morning.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I need to sign in for this one, don't I?
Please.
I just wanted to comment on the dock leases. You know, all the research that was done on all of the dock leases on other ports up and down the coast was the cities that were leasing the docks actually own the docks and or the boathouses. And trade winds and Cary and Vetters actually own those docks. You know, we maintain them. We make sure they're safe, and oh yes, they are fully insured and they're fully inspected by our insurance companies. But there's kind of a precedent with, we did a lot of research up and down the coast that's saying, and there was some dock leases out there, but it was all, but the docks themselves were owned by the city. So, you know, as a company, we need to do our due diligence also, of course. It is a navigable waterway, which is actually controlled by the Department of State Lands. And I've actually talked to an attorney about this a little bit briefly and stuff, and he's all for saying, you know, I'm not sure if the city can actually lease you those docks unless they own them, for one thing, and it is a navigable waterway also. The city of Newport, you know, does lease to NOAA and ODFW, you know, for their operations down there, but they charge them $1 a year just to release liability and everything. So, it's one of those things that we just can't roll over and just all of a sudden, you know, because it does kind of set a precedent and everything. You know?
I have a question to ask.
Yes.
So it's my read on this that we're not.
This is public comment.
Yeah, we're not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
You just
Sorry.
Thank you.
Should we have stepped up when we were discussing that as part of the city council, like after Jack and Liz? Or
Don't you sit around the harbor commission?
Yeah,
And.
but I had to recuse myself
Oh, okay.
of that, you know,
Okay.
so I didn't vote for any of that stuff. I
Okay,
pretty much remained silent on the whole thing,
yeah.
you know, as much as I possibly could.
Well, when it comes back before us, then we'll give you an opportunity to speak.
Okay,
Because we don't have the leases or anything done completely yet, so we'll research that a little bit more.
okay, fair enough. And
Okay,
so what, can I ask when that might be coming up?
we're in the budget season right now, so we're gonna try and get on it, and I can't give you a date.
How often does the budget committee meet?
We've got 2 more meetings probably scheduled, so.
They will be the ones that are evaluating the leases, it will be the city council. They will not be ready by March 7th, or May 7th, I can tell you that, but maybe May 21st or early June.
Okay,
They're not really part of the budget, I mean, we can throw a number in there as an estimate for revenue, but
okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council comments. Adam, do you have any comments this evening?
Is there not?
I was just gonna
pardon me, I think there's one public.
Oh, I'm sorry, was
Not
that?
online, here in person.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I'm sorry. I didn't see.
That's right.
Yes,
I don't need to sign it again, do I? Okay. So I just wanted to kind of go off a little bit of what Tab was saying. First off, the numbers, you know, that you guys have on your chart do definitely need to be looked at again, because we don't have nearly as much dock as what's listed on here, less than half actually. So definitely that would need to be looked at as far as what you're projecting that you might be able to, as far as revenue, get out of redoing these dock leases. Other thing I would like to just say is that having the additional, I guess, step of having an engineer look at it, kind of really muddles the waters a little bit on who picks these engineers, who, you know, like who pays for them. We already have an insurance policy that covers anything that happens with the city additionally, you know, named on there, with fulfilling all of our obligations that way. So it seems like to have additional costs shouldn't really fall on us if we already have these docks completely insured. The other thing I'd like to say is, you know, by having our docks that we maintain, that we have, we take a lot of stress off of those public docks. A lot of stress off of public docks, a lot of liability off of the public docks. And so I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a disservice kind of punishing us essentially for, you know, wanting us to renew these dock leases that haven't been in place for 18 years. You know, when we're not the ones that have the bigger liability here, when we're not using the public dock, we're using our docks. And so it just seems kind of, you know, it just seems like getting kind of picked on when we're the ones not really, we're doing our own thing, or following all the rules, and it just seems like it's not really fair that we have to go through this extra step, especially if we have to do something additional than just what we already have with our insurance. Who there is not an insurance company that's gonna insure docks and property without an inspection, and we have all of that. So I just like to, when you're discussing options, when you're looking at these lease options, you know, if you could try to keep that in mind when you're looking at that, I would really appreciate just from that.
Thank you. And our paper pencil pen.
Oh, I was just gonna bring up again that I think we should all get certified. I see they're doing classes again, and I think it'd be good for everyone on council.
I would like to do that too.
I know Mr. Beasley just did his. Yeah. That's all.
So I have two things. It came to my attention recently that, well, I think it had been asked again recently. So, when Brady was staff, that wasn't exempt, when he was under Terry, he had, comp time that he kind of was forced to put into flex time, which he's he's not allowed to have, because he's now exempt. But when he was an employee, he had 80 hours of comp time that he never got compensated for, because it was moved to flex time. And I'm thinking that that's kind of not fair, and we should kind of look into compensating at the rate he was paid at that time, but not just letting him be kind of cheated out of something that was. So that we kind of that looked into. And the other thing is, I don't know what the council, I don't know when we discussed it, but the neighbor approached me about wanting to know about small homes and small home ordinances. And we don't have them, and that's becoming more and more of a demand. I've seen articles about people wanting their own, even if it's small, they want their own place, not just, apartments next to each other. So I know the planning commission is still working on the quality of life ordinances, but if this is something, maybe we can agendize it or something. If we want to discuss what they work on next, and if small home ordinances might be something to consider. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
I was interested in looking at the bills and things that are passed specifically regarding affordable housing situations, and I really want us to explore all of that in conjunction with our urban renewal land purchases that we can do, helping developers come in and build affordable housing. We need it.
Yes.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but since this has come up about affordable housing, is that I think that, we should have a debate on that. And my concern about housing in general is that we don't have a property tax. And I'm concerned about our ability to keep up with our infrastructure needs. The more people, the more pressure on our parks, on our sewer, on our water. And we have to take that into consideration whenever we're talking about this. We have plenty of land here in town that can be developed. And I just don't know how much I want to support our role in terms of, supersizing this town. And but it's, I'm certainly for affordable housing. I'm just worried that it's gonna cause problems for our city also.
Okay, is that it? Okay, we are adjourned.
I have the following news for city council. I would love to
Good to see you.
Yeah.
He did, that's the day he
Yeah.